A storm raged across the ancient city of Alba Longa, mirroring the turmoil within its walls. King Numitor, a man of wisdom and justice, had been usurped by his younger brother, Amulius, a tyrant consumed by ambition. To secure his claim to the throne, Amulius banished Numitor and condemned his daughter, Rhea Silvia, to a life of servitude as a Vestal virgin, a fate worse than death for a woman of royal blood. But the gods, ever fickle, had other plans. Mars, the god of war, captivated by Rhea Silvia's beauty, defied the sacred vows and descended upon her in a fiery embrace. When Rhea Silvia bore twins strong, wailing boys named Romulus and Remus, fear gripped Amulius's heart. These children, symbols of the rightful lineage, posed a threat to his stolen throne. Amulius, his eyes glinting with murderous intent, issued a chilling decree. The twins, mere babes in arms, were to be placed in a wicker basket and abandoned on the unforgiving waters of the Tiber River. Left to the mercy of the elements, their fate seemed sealed. The basket, tossed upon the turbulent current, bobbed and swayed precariously. Hope dwindled with each passing moment. Yet fate intervened in a most unexpected way. Adrift on the raging river, the basket was carried to the foot of Palatine Hill, where a sight both wondrous and terrifying awaited. A she-wolf, her fur matted with blood from a recent hunt, emerged from her den. Drawn by an unseen force, the wolf approached the basket, not with fangs bared but with a gentle curiosity. Inside, she found the two whimpering babies, their cries barely audible over the roar of the river. Instead of delivering the killing blow, the she-wolf did something extraordinary. She adopted them as her own. With a nurturing instinct that defied the laws of nature, she suckled them alongside her pups, offering them warmth and protection in their most desperate hour. Days turned into weeks, and the wolf-suckled twins thrived under their unlikely guardian's care. Their cries, once filled with fear, now echoed through the valley with a growing strength. Their tiny bodies, nurtured by the wolf's milk, became robust and resilient. One fateful day, a shepherd named Faustulus, his eyes wide with disbelief, stumbled upon the extraordinary sight. There, nestled beside the sleeping wolf, lay two human infants. His heart pounding with a mixture of wonder and fear, Faustulus took the boys back to his humble dwelling, raising them as his own sons. Years passed, and Romulus and Remus grew into fine young men. Possessing an innate strength and leadership that belied their unknown origins, they were unaware of the royal blood that coursed through their veins. Rumors of their unusual upbringing, however, lingered in the air, sparking whispers among the shepherds and kindling a sense of unease within Remus. One day, a violent dispute erupted between the shepherds tending their flocks on the Palatine and Aventine hills. Remus, caught in the fray, was captured and brought before King Amulius. As he stood before the tyrant, a strange feeling of recognition washed over Amulius. The young man's fiery spirit and the birthmark shaped like a wolf's paw on his arm, these were not mere coincidences. Driven by a growing suspicion, Amulius delved deeper. An aged servant, bribed with promises of gold, revealed a long-hidden secret, the tale of the abandoned twins and the she-wolf. The truth, once shrouded in darkness, began to unravel. With hearts pounding and minds reeling, Romulus and Remus raced against time to piece together the fragments of their forgotten past. A series of revelations, the recognition of the abandoned basket, the testimony of the shepherd Faustulus, the undeniable resemblance to their mother painted a chilling picture. They were the rightful heirs to the throne, their lives marked by a near-death experience and the kindness of a wild animal. Fueled by righteous anger and a burning desire to restore their rightful place, the twins hatched a daring plan. In a swift and bloody coup, they stormed the palace, their cries for justice echoing through the halls. Amulius, caught off guard by the audacity of the young men, met his demise at their hands. The usurper's reign of terror was over. The rightful king, Numitor, was reinstated, his eyes filled with a bittersweet joy as he embraced his long-lost grandchildren. But the brothers' ambitions extended beyond simply restoring their grandfather. They yearned to leave their own mark on the world, to establish a city that would stand as a testament to their resilience and a symbol of a new era. However, their visions differed. Romulus, a man of ambition and foresight, favored the Palatine Hill, a strategic location offering a panoramic view of the surrounding plains and a natural defense against potential enemies. Remus, on the other hand, drawn to the wild beauty of the Aventine Hill, saw it as a place of potential abundance and growth. Neither brother would budge. The tension between them simmered, a storm brewing beneath the surface of their newfound brotherhood. Unwilling to let their dream be fractured by a mere disagreement, they agreed to settle the matter through divine intervention. Through the ancient practice of augury, they sought a sign from the gods. On a pre-dawn vigil, each brother stood on their chosen hill, waiting for an auspicious omen. As the first rays of dawn pierced the horizon, a majestic eagle soared into view, circling the Palatine Hill 12 times. It was a clear and undeniable message. Romulus, his face flushed with triumph, interpreted the eagle's flight as a divine endorsement of his vision. But for Remus, the bitter taste of defeat lingered. He watched in growing resentment as Romulus, with a sacred plough pulled by an ox and a cow, ceremoniously marked the boundaries of their new city on the Palatine Hill. On April 21st, 753 BC, according to legend, Romulus declared the city officially founded, naming it Rome after himself, Roma in Latin. The joyous cheers of the gathered crowd could not drown out the gnawing jealousy festering within Remus. He paced restlessly along the newly formed boundary, a dark cloud clouding his features. In a moment of impulsive defiance, he dared to cross the sacred line, mocking Romulus's claim to divine authority. Romulus, his eyes blazing with a fury that mirrored the storm brewing overhead, saw this transgression as an act of treason, a challenge to his newly established power. In a heartbeat, the bond of brotherhood that had seen them through hardship and danger snapped. With a swift, brutal movement, Romulus struck his twin down, his brother's blood staining the very soil they had hoped to build upon. Grief and horror washed over Romulus as he realized the enormity of his actions. He had slain his own flesh and blood, sullying the birth of their city with a brother's murder. Tears streamed down his face, mingling with the rain that began to fall, a somber baptism for the nascent city. Despite the tragic turn of events, Rome rose from the ashes of fratricide. Romulus, forever haunted by his deed, became the city's first king, laying the foundation for the laws, traditions, and governing system that would shape the mighty Roman Empire. Yet, the memory of Remus, the wolf-suckled brother, lived on, a constant reminder of the city's bloody birth and the fragile nature of power.